Good morning, Mr. Aseem.
Good morning. Good morning, Abhishek.
Welcome to EV Duniya. And basically, we'll be first starting with the introduction about you and as well as Sahy, right? So, Mr. Aseem Gupta, you have been already a visionary and coming with a couple of decades of entrepreneurial experience to, change the way India is trying to commute. Okay, so that is what we are looking forward to know from you about what kind of journey you're planning to go through, and how you see and vision that how India will change the commute forever. Okay, so can we just start with how Sahy started and how the ideology of setting up all of this thing came into the picture? So tell us about your journey first.
So India is very much at the forefront of everything. I would say that I went to the States very aware of the brain drain which I had been educated about in my middle school years. So it was a firm resolve that no matter how much money is offered, I would come back to India to add value to the society which had molded me as an individual. Now, my entrepreneurial journey, when I came back, I went into my family business, which is into government contracting. And I was looking at the transition, which was from a centralized rate contract to a new system, which was brought forward by our Honorable Prime Minister, which is called GEM. I managed to take the company up to the 4th rank over there out of 7 million vendors. And then I decided number 1, 2, 3 were just going to be a snail race for me. And it would take a lot of years. I was already at the top from where I wanted to be.
Right.
Moreover, compromises also had to be made, which I was not ready to do. And I had always been a nature lover. I have a passion project on the side. It's called Love for Gaia, wherein I'm setting up a 50,000 tree agroforest. So this I've been working for 6 years. Failed a few times, but now we're quite successful. I've got 2,100 live saplings after the plantation this year, and last year we did around 600. So being an environmental entrepreneur, a climatepreneur is basically at the forefront of Sahy, along with a great level of nationalism and patriotism to the motherland. So,
Okay.
That being kept aside, I do not like the word jugaad, which is a quick fix. So we tend to, by we, I mean us as a society, we tend to take shortcuts and do things in 2 minutes and then keep repeating those 2 minutes over a long time rather than do something for 5 minutes and then not having to worry about it. So I kept the company's name Sahy because I wanted to do the right thing. And that is the entire instinct. We're going to do everything the right way, right from the beginning, so that there is no worry and the company is sustainable in itself, in its thought, its product, and how it interacts with everybody, all the stakeholders, be it the government, society, investors, workers, everybody. And we are also going to focus on the UNDP goals. So the business model we made is fabulous. I can see a lot of profitability. And I borrow from my US education over here when I say that we are going to create the Starbucks of EV charging, because Starbucks is not a coffee company, it's an experience company in the end.
Absolutely.
It sells coffee. So we are going to be a company which is also an experience company, but we'll just be there in the business of EV charging, wherein we also want to offer EV charging over a long time for free by leveraging other revenue streams, which we believe we can easily do with our customers, because we'll be interacting with them like the stakeholders. They're going to go with us for a long way. It's not like I'm a petrol pump. You come, you fill your tank, and you go away. So Sahy aims and envisions to do that. Also, the company has been one of the fastest established startups in the country in terms of the EV charging. Most of the startups you see are over a year old when they started their execution and implementation. Sahy was incorporated on the 21st of March, this year, on our MD's birthday, Mr. Chaitanya Sanghi's birthday. And since then, we've already managed to get our app online. We've managed to get the payment gateways integrated. We've managed to also set up charging stations. Our first DC charging station is being set up and will be inaugurated on the auspicious occasion of Janmashtami. And we plan to scale it up in a very, very fast way so that at least the areas that I'm in, I see that people are adopting EV charging simply because of the culture that it brings across. I don't see me charging, let's say, 16 rupees or 20 rupees instead of the standard 18 rupees for cars being a decision changer. Because a person will not worry about 2 rupees per unit, which translates into a few paise when it comes to an experience. So here the entire game is to be a trustworthy brand. Build something which people want to go to. Build something that inspires the trust and the enjoyment that a Tata brand does. So that is the vision behind Sahy.
Wonderful. So I really think that, the journey, what you have explained, that obviously comes with the complete experience and obviously the approach towards a sustainable environment and for the goodwill of humanity, right? So that comes with the next question from my side, that which cities you are majorly targeting to approach first and to do your installations, and at what scale you are imagining for upcoming 3 years? How do you see that?
Well, it's always better to start at home because you're able to learn from the challenges better. So we started in Gurgaon because of the huge density of HNIs over there, and it's very close to Delhi. We are starting off with the NCR primarily. Thereafter, we'll be going to other cities. Now our company is incorporated in Uttarakhand, and I want to keep the hills clean. I also believe the people over there are far more conscious towards the environment and would be willing to pay the surcharge for an EV if they know that's going to keep their air clean. Also, at the same time, give them a long-term cost-benefit analysis, because if you look at an electric vehicle, 1 unit of electricity costs roughly around 18 rupees at a normal charging station. At GST, it comes to around 21. And the average yield you can get out of 1 unit comes to around 5 to 6 kilometers. So if you take your 100 rupee per kilometer journey, which happens in a car, and you compare that with a, let's say, less than a rupee journey, which comes in an EV, you already end up saving up money. I am an adopter first and an entrepreneur later. I bought an EV last year in September, and I realized the pain which EV owners have. My car has been stalled on highways as well because of lack of stations. And so I do see that there's massive scope for it. I've also been to places wherein I was generally, when you're on a highway, you charge your car and you go inside an eatery so that you can while away the time of 15-20 minutes while it's charging. So while I'm enjoying a sumptuous meal of chola bhaturas, some gentleman comes and taps on the emergency brake, takes out the cable from my car and puts it to his. That is the demand if you're in the right sector. So if we start in the NCR, you will see there are a lot of vehicles there. And we believe that if we leverage the NCR, we leverage the hill states, etc., then it's very easy. So coming back to the point, we have a very, very socially driven outlook when it comes to making profits. I'm not too greedy. I'm just greedy enough to make my company grow, give back to the society. And that is enabled simply by being in the high density metropolitans such as Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, which are also adopters, simply because if you look at Hyderabad, it's an IT hub. Bangalore is the Silicon Valley of the East. And also Gurgaon is the third largest IT hub in the country. So we take these things together, we expand over here, and slowly and gradually we start warming up the governments, because the governments are a great stakeholder. And our company is offering free EV charging stations. Now, I don't understand why the government would not say, come give us stuff for free.
Absolutely. I think every day government is also focusing on changing the FAME policies, and they are also promoting, and the pledges what they have taken to make India majority vehicles must be running on EV, transmitting into EV by 2030, right? So I think government has already started taking an initiative, and the people like you who have envisioned this already, I think everything is going to be Sahy. Yeah.
Many thanks for that.
Yeah. So what about current financials, like funding status, and what are the plans for, till 2025? Because that's what is the major concern for many of these startups, right? So we would like to know more about it.
I would say that I'm a great believer in destiny, and whenever I have promised to put in funds, I have managed to get a windfall from one place or the other and managed to divert that. So that being kept aside, the funding from Sahy at this point in time is coming primarily from the three promoters, which is myself, Mr. Chaitanya Sanghi, and Mr. Saurabh Singh. However, I did sell my apartment in Gurgaon, which I had bought for myself. Oh. And I have plowed in the profits of that after paying due taxes to the government. The entire transaction was done by check so that I could plow it in. And that is not usual in the real estate industry.
Absolutely.
So everybody, it was a tough transaction because everybody like, sir, cash component. I'm like, please, not happening. I'm going to do everything Sahy. Yeah. So that being said, I have plowed in money from the sale of my real estate apartment, and that is funding the initial growth. Moreover, we've got a good amount of investor interest. However, as you do know, the VC market and funds are dry at the moment a little bit, simply because of the lot of amount of buzz which are there in the startup market, and because of the entrepreneurs which are chosen not being able to perform and not being able to run corporations with the same amount of financial discipline that they would run their own household with.
Right. I think the major reason behind CV funding is not coming up much. VC funding, sorry. So I think burning events, what have happened, the unfortunate events, what have already happened and happening all across the globe, not only in India, that is, do you think that is really affecting this particular thing also?
I would say that who goes in for VC funding? It's not your traditional businessman. He's happy with a few percent. People who want to earn a few times go into VC funding. And if you look at the greatest multiplier of wealth in terms of speculation of my generation, at least I would call him Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. So when he's not investing in a startup, well, he invested in a Casa Air, but he's very specifically said he will not invest in companies which give free stuff and free, what do you call, give massive discounts. So that is one reason the customer acquisition cost in startups is the basic reason why VCs are wary. Now they want to see revenue making startups, or they want to see a highly successful promoter doing this. So what Sahy brings to the table is a team which is already established, which is already recognized as successful, which have parallel successful businesses and are dropping them just to add forces together to make this behemoth of a company which doesn't give EV charging free on the first day, which gives a discount. But over a period of 5 years, I will make it absolutely free. And my business plan is enabling me to do so because I'm enabling other revenue streams and the flexibility that I have simply because I am a self-funded startup is allowing me to change business plans, be dynamic, and also juggernaut the growth and juggernaut the dynamism in my company.
Right. So one more thing I would like to ask you about some technical stuff. Considering the unfortunate events, the study shows that many of the events have been occurring during charging, right?
Oh, okay. You're talking about the vehicles exploding.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
are you taking any measures to that while designing your chargers and charging stations? So tell us about it more.
In order to give a solution, you first have to get to the problem. The
Absolutely.
problem over here is vehicles having explosive batteries. So I was in a seminar with a very recognized national level industries association. It was a technical seminar wherein I did bring this up, and you would be happy to know that I also founded SIVECI. SIVECI is the Society for EV Ecosystem for Operations of India. So this I
Okay.
founded simply to standardize all our batteries, battery switches, chargers, etc., in order to ensure that customer protection and customer like trust is maintained on this very, very efficient technology. Now we come to the problem. The problem is that the lithium which is being imported, the lithium batteries which are being imported are not tested prior to dispatch as per a IS standard, which is the Indian national standard formulated by the BIS. Thereafter, they are allowed to be imported. This is not the case with tires. Tires have to be ISI marked even if they're coming from any foreign country, including a very much loved neighbor, which produces the maximum amount of tires.
Correct.
Now, and the maximum amount of lithium. So if they can do that with tires, why can they not do that with batteries?
Right, right, right.
So now I voiced out, and I've been regularly voicing out, that we need a standardization that will allow the industry to grow, the customers to get trust, and for batteries also to be swappable, the government is aiming at.
Right, right, right.
Now we come down to the electricity current. The current of the electricity has to be healthy. It has to be through a
Constant.
switch which doesn't get burnt up during the process. So while entrepreneurs have to look at growth, they have to look at revenues and profitability. I do always request the industry to move together, not be too steadfast in their own individual movement, and talk about larger things. Now we come down to what Sahy is doing. Sahy is not taking any chances. We are a system integrator. So what we are doing is we are buying components and integrating them, not only because they have a certain technical specification. I'm a specs person, I don't want brands. However, at the same time, I require my customers, my other stakeholders, such as my asset owners, to also have trust. So when I'm putting a certain MCCB, it has to be of a certain brand which is nationally recognized and enables trust. So I'm willing to pay that 40-50% surcharge for that brand. Similarly with our chargers, similarly with our battery management system software, so on and so forth. So if you look at the installation of Sahy, there's no jugaad. Everything is Sahy. It's top of the line, state of the art. I would rather do one charging station at a high cost with good quality than do 100 and then keep thinking about in the middle of the night on a very comfortable bed wherein my next battery is going to explode. So that is something which is in the domain of Sahy, to do the right thing, install the right components, source responsibly, and to also integrate them with the best of the talent around so that there are no shortcomings.
Right, right. Absolutely correct. So, do you think that Indian government's policies are really moving towards the progress for EV, and overall India as a country will be moving to the sustainable environment and carbon-free environment very soon? These policies are going to help, and can we create the situation what has been already created in the West? Majorly in the US, and Norway has been on the top considering the EV infrastructure. So what do you think, that is Indian government moving towards the same? And as an entrepreneur and one of the visionaries, what do you think, that are we on the right roadmap, or how is it?
I think we're definitely on the right roadmap, simply because India doesn't idolize the US as much as it did earlier, but it idolizes the Scandinavian countries when it comes to sustainability. Now, like you rightly said, Norway is at the forefront of it. Now, so you will see a lot of Scandinavian countries adding value to the EV system over here. Moreover, our road transport minister, Shri Gadkari Saab, is a very dynamic person. Yeah. Extremely dynamic person. If you would notice, he came to the government in a hydrogen car, which was given by Toyota to promote hydrogen. So that is how visionary our government is. You also put forth Mr. Modi's team. Now they say that we are going to have the bulk of an energy coming out of renewable resources by the year 2043. So the government does have an act together. It's just that they keep the cards a bit close to their chest as to what they want and how they're going to do it. And they give it in bits and pieces so that the general public can actually take it, assimilate it, and implement it. So looking at the policies which are there, the associations which are there, and how well the government is going forward, I think it's a plus. If you add to it what Digital India did to our country, I will say the EV industry is a beneficiary from the Digital India movement of the government, because EV stations are not mad. You go there, it's app enabled, you fill your car up and you go away. There's nobody to take cash.
Right. I think all these Digital India initiatives are going to be a big booster for enhancing all of these infrastructure very soon, right? And one more thing we would like to know about the type of products you already have, the type of chargers you already have, and which type of connections you are offering. So we'd like to know more about it.
Well, we have at the moment onboarded 1,000, over 1,000 switches. Now, switches and chargers are different. Switches are for 2 and 3 wheelers, and chargers are for 4 wheelers and vehicles more than 4 wheels. For example, trucks, buses, etc. Now, we started with the 2 wheelers. We've got over 1,000 switches on our app. And these are both industrial switches as well as your normal 3-pin socket switches. Now, these 3-pin socket switches will not burn up simply because they've got MCCBs, etc. So they're not the domestic household switch that you go and you put your plug into. So this is our offering for 2 and 3 wheelers. Our products are from the top of the line manufacturers in the country. And we've also onboarded the free switches which are offered by the Delhi government on our app, so that the users of our app can make do of the good initiatives by the state government also over here. Moreover, when we come to DC chargers, we are primarily starting off with 60 kilowatt chargers, simply because we do believe that the location that we're installing them at, we do not require such a high capacity load of electricity. Moreover, India is an energy deficient country if you look at it in a holistic way.
Yeah.
So I can easily go for 240 kilowatt charger, but I don't see any use at the moment. Our company also has in its business plan to be a renewable energy producer. So it does hurt me a little bit when I'm buying off the grid and I'm buying non-renewable energy off the grid, and I'm not giving it back, and I'm taking something as heavy as 240 kilowatts for charging a vehicle in one go.
Yeah.
Normal household connections are something around 10 kilowatts to 12 kilowatts. If you're taking a 240 kilowatt connection, a 250 kilowatt connection, imagine that's the maximum amount of electricity. More than that, with the safety factor of 25 houses.
Right. So you're already concentrating everything which is going to be the Sahy manner, right? That's what I can see immediately, and we can gauge, right? I think that comes up with the conclusion of the session, where everything is going to be Sahy. That's what we can hope, and we wish you all the best for your future endeavors. And we can really hope that all across India, everything will be happening in a Sahy manner.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, and all the best.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thanks, Aseem.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Rashmi.